Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. It's the simple things in life, like learning again. It's the simple things in life, like finding where it all began. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Tabernacle edition. That's right. More praise to the Most High, all praises. Now we doing you're now tuned into
Our Hidden History Radio Show.
What the hell? That's what Bishop says.
D, I'm still recovering because of what I experienced last night.
What you talking about?
Most High Christ bless you all. It's an honor to be on Out of Hidden History, but we got to make a statement before we start the show.
Okay.
Last night, look, Philly, y'all can have it.
Do
York don't want it, y'all can have it. Brothers was partying, dancing at 7 in the morning. What's going on?
That's right.
New York, we take a break.
No, y'all born this out, man.
Come on.
It's Fish and Tabernacle.
Cap, you didn't tell me Philly's like that.
Yeah, Philly is
You were
terrible
warned.
with it.
You
You're
didn't
terrible with it.
Fish and Tabernacle.
I didn't even say shalom. I just left.
Yeah, you just leave. You leave. You gonna know you left.
You gotta go to work, anything, just go. Just go.
All praises, man. So I woke up at, no, we stopped at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I only got 4 hours of sleep. So it's all right. It's all right. So
The weather's still nice too.
the weather's very
Oh,
nice.
the
Yes,
weather's
real
beautiful.
nice.
Weather's beautiful.
See, we wearing short
Wow.
sleeves, and I wear no coats and jumpsuits and all
Well,
that.
I wore a long sleeve because I was told that it's real cold.
Yes.
So
yes.
I over-prepared.
Yes, overdressed. So, we're gonna open up with a very special figure that I want to bring up in this portion of the lesson. It's a very, very intelligent brother, intellectual brother that many of you people who deny slave ships would be very impressed with. So, open up with that video real quick if you can. Oswald Bates. Many of you brothers and sisters who are denying the slave ships, this brother right here might be a monumental figure for you. In fact, you remind me of him. He reminds me of, and he should remind you of you. All right, we're just gonna get that video real quick. Let's jump into it real fast.
First of all, we must internalize the flatulation of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection. Now, if I may retain my liquids here for one moment, I'd like to continue the redundance of my quote-unquote intestinal tract. See, because to preclude on the issue of world domination would only circumcise the revelation that reflects the aphrodisiac symptoms which now perpetrates the Jericho's activation. So, do not misinterpret the chauvinistic.
For the United Negro Scholarship Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to develop without help.
Allow me to expose my colon once again. The ramification inflicted on the incision placed within the fallopian cavities serves to be holistic, taken from the Latin word jalapeno.
Now, now I want to show you guys the actual people that this character in Living Color is based on. Give me the next video. Put up the braids. Oswald Bates is real. He's a real person. He comes in the male. He comes as a female in real life, which is very sad, but it's very true.
Slave ships aren't
Load up.
White people lie.
Turn
They never made
up.
one slave ship. Black people aren't from Africa. Black people are from America. White people lied and said they used 35,000 ships to bring 12.5 million of us over the Atlantic Ocean during a 6-month trip back and forth from the year 1500 to 1866. When all white people can show for proof is this.
So
And that right there should show you it's a lie.
So Oswald Bates is real. Now get the next video. Another one. Dane Calloway exposed. There's another one. Yep.
Would you survive this if you were captured by some anonymous so-called white people that don't speak your language, but they somehow manage to capture you and your family members? Matter of fact, your whole tribe. When I tell you that white supremacy is an illusion, that's what I'm talking about. You just handing them the power. That forces you to not look at the bigger picture. They didn't even have ships. Keep in mind, during the time period that I'm referring to, during the 1600s and all the way to the late 1800s, these type of boats ain't become commercial until the mid to late 1800s. That's number one. Number two, how many of you think you about to fit on here? On top of your crew and hopefully some type of sources or resources rather, in order for y'all to stay afloat, to travel 40 to 50 days from Africa to South America. So that's even more reason why this image wouldn't make sense. These white folks captured you from who? Who captured you from who?
Oswald Bates. That's why I started off with him. That's who that is. That's what that is. These are our people who are ashamed of their heritage, ashamed of their culture, and so they try to make themselves Native Americans. That's what they're doing now. They're doing what white folks do. White folks came over here, Native Americans, they killed them off. Not killed them off, but murdered them and reclassified them as Negroes and placed them on reservations and then professed to be them. And now you got dumb, stupid Negroes coming out of the woodworks pretty much saying the same thing rather than just acknowledging and respecting they're basically disrespecting their ancestors by saying this nonsense. So I'm going to pretty much present the facts that these Negroes on these videos have not produced. These guys, if you look at the views, they got thousands of views, tens of thousands of views. And a lot of times, black people will take things face value. That's why the white man can dangle Obama in front of us, and we fall for it. They can dangle Kamala Harris in front of us, and we'll fall for it. This is what they do. This is what they do. And our people don't seem to pay attention to they can't peep game. So let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Without further ado, let's just go into it. All right, we're gonna go into all the history that pretty much substantiates this very scripture, this curse that we fell under for violating God's covenant, His laws, His commandments. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28,
68,
verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
You sound kind of low. Can they hear him?
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now we bring this out all the time on the street. And this another thing is a lot of these people, I'm not gonna say that they're agents, but that's an agent-like agenda to push. Because as we start pushing this truth out in these streets and we start going into the curses and pointing out the slavery and the yokes of iron and so forth, it brings the Bible to life. When you got stupid Negroes being possibly either out of jail and coming with this prison wisdom, or Esau is setting these Negroes up, paying them off and say, listen, you're going to say that slave ships never existed, and they're being pretty much used. I don't know, I'm not going to go into that conspiracy, but it's a possibility that they're trying to make that a new doctrine now where slave ships never existed, or in schools now, critical race theory, where we weren't stolen, we migrated. That's another part also. So you got black folks working against us, and you got white folks working against us as well. Now, I touched on the trans-Saharan slave trade, and the slave ships that the trans-Saharans brought forth was called dhows. In the same conditions that the Europeans had it, so-called Europeans had us in on the slave ships, and the same number of people of cargo they had in the bottom of the ships is identical almost to the Arabs. All right, so read again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
And the Lord shall bring you into Egypt again. So let's get the precept for Egypt to see what Egypt means when he says he will bring you into Egypt again with ships. He will bring you into Egypt again with ships. Exodus 20 and 2.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So Egypt represents the house of bondage. When all 12 tribes were in the land of Egypt, we were held captive. One of the biggest, if not one of the most popular pyramids in Egypt, Giza, I believe, we built it. We built the Valley of Kings.
Right.
We built those pyramids. We did not build all of them. But the ones that are most monumental, the ones that are most popular and get the most attention in tourism, is the ones that we were responsible for building. We also found the same pyramid, same measurements, and same size here in North America as well, or South America, well, the Americas. It's that way. The exact measurements, because we built them. We had knowledge of building pyramids. Now, yeah.
Mic check. Indeed, they know that the pictures on the walls, they know that's us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the artifacts is still there.
Yeah, the pictures of us working in the plantations in Egypt, it's on the walls. They're drawn on the walls. We have the books. We have the artifacts. So go back to Deuteronomy 28 again.
Deuteronomy
68.
chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With ships. Bring you into slavery or bondage again with ships. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee.
By the way of I spake unto thee, go ahead.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
It is Egypt. You shall see literal Egypt no more again. Israel, all 12 tribes, never returned to Egypt as slaves again. So as a nation, we would see it no more again. Go ahead.
And there
in this particular Egypt or bondage, go ahead.
ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
You shall be sold unto your enemies. Go ahead.
For bondmen,
Slave men,
and bondwomen,
slave women.
and no man shall buy you.
No man shall buy, meaning no man shall redeem you. Redeem you as in, because during in the old, under Moses, whenever a brother was fell on hard times, he would put himself into bondage, indentured servitude, and try to work off his debt. But there was a way where, according to the law, your brother, his family can come along, or kin can come along and buy him out of that bondage and pay off his debt or redeem him. That's why it says no man shall buy you, or no man shall redeem you from that. That's why I said you shall be bondmen and bondwomen. Hold that, get Exodus 20 real quick, 21. I'm going to show you the difference between a bondman and a manservant and maidservant. There's a difference. Exodus 20, and we're going to read verse 1.
Exodus chapter 20, 21 and verse 1.
Yes.
Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant.
If you buy an Hebrew servant. This is a man servant. Go ahead.
6 years he shall serve. And in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
So a brother, if he fell on hard times, he would put himself into servitude to work off a debt. But by the 7th year, whether he paid his debt off or not, or worked it off or not, he was allowed to go free. Okay? So he cannot exceed 6 years. He can work 6 years, but 7th year, he can go free. Now, if he chose to stay longer, laws are instituted that allow him to stay forever, but based upon his own desire, not against his will, like us, by the white man and the Arab man, and the Chinese man, Japanese man. So, let me jump down. Hold on. Hold on. Go down to verse 7.
Verse 7. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant.
Meaning a man takes his daughter and has his daughter work off his debt. Remember, no more than 6 years. She can be free after the 7th year. Go ahead.
She shall not go out as the men servants do.
That's going into if she's engaged or something happens where in the midst of servitude, someone try to take her as a wife. It goes into that later on. But I mentioned the point is men servants, maid servants. Those worked temporarily. They're like what you would call Jeffrey from Fresh Prince or Benson. That's an example of manservant, maidservant. They weren't slaves as in bondage, but that was a certain level. That was a certain form of slavery, but it was not a perpetual slavery. Now, give me Leviticus 25. I'm going to give you perpetual now.
Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 45.
Yeah.
Moreover, of the children of the strangers.
Of the other nations, strangers outside your race, go ahead.
That do sojourn among you.
That dwelt among us, go ahead. We left out of Egypt, go ahead.
Of them shall ye buy.
Of them shall you buy, go ahead.
And of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land. And they shall be your possession.
They shall be your possession. 46.
And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you.
Come on.
To inherit them for a possession.
Gotta watch this.
They shall be your bondmen forever.
Forever. Forever. That's the distinction. That's what the Lord said to Israel. You shall be bondmen and bondwomen. Because that slavery for us became perpetual. Go ahead.
But over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one over another with rigor.
With fear, meaning fierce bondage. Don't be rude. Don't be rough on your people when they serve you. The other nations, however, it is what it is. So the other nations, they were our bondmen and women. But when the Most High told us to keep the commandments of God, and we violated that covenant, he said, now you're going to be slaves now, perpetually. You and your children, as your servants once were, or under you, now they're going to be over you. Now, get me, sure.
Give an example, Nehemiah, chapter 5.
Regarding the rigor?
Mike. Can y'all hear me?
Regarding the rigor?
No, regarding how we were able to redeem our own brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, yep.
Nehemiah 5.
Nehemiah chapter 5 and verse 5. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children. And lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants. And some of our daughters are brought unto bondage already. Neither is it in our power to redeem them. For other men have our lands and vineyards.
So that's when Nehemiah returned to the land, and there was a lot of usury that was being done.
Right.
Our own people was dealing very badly with their own brothers and sisters. Jump to verse, we don't.
Verse 6. And I was very angry when I heard their cry in these words. Then I consulted with myself, and I rebuked the nobles and the rulers, and said unto them, ye exact usury, every one of his brother.
So the rulers was being very evil and wicked towards the feeble one that was the poor people that was in Israel. Go ahead.
And I set a great assembly against them.
So Nehemiah starts setting up orders. Go ahead, we don't.
And I said unto them, we, after our ability, have redeemed our brethren, the Jews.
That's the law. We, after our ability, have redeemed our brethren, the Jews. Go ahead.
Which were sold unto the heathen.
Go ahead.
And will ye even sell your brethren? Or shall they be sold unto us? They held they their peace and found nothing to answer.
Right. So back then we were able to redeem. That's what Deuteronomy 28:68 says. We cannot no one is going to be able to redeem them. Because why? Everybody went to slavery.
Right. That's what that means. That's what that means. But your revised version Bibles make the scripture sound real stupid. All right? Now, give me the book I want, A Pictorial History of the Negro in America. A Pictorial History of the Negro in America. Unlike you Negroes who teach prisdom on YouTube, prison wisdom on YouTube. Prisdom. I call it prisdom. That's when they go to jail and their butthole becomes mysteriously enlarged and their brain somehow shrinks in the process. How, I do not know. How, I know not. And I will say not. But just, you got the idea. God, I want. I gave her that book. You gotta have it. A Pictorial History of the Negro in America. I think it's a big blue cover. So, while they're doing that, it's very important that we gain a certain level of pride and dignity in who and what we are. And not only in our own eyes, but in the sight of the Lord, because that was one of the things that Israel had a problem. Israel had a problem with who they were. Israel desired to be the nation so bad, man. You know, they want to be everything but what they are. And everybody wants to be you. You know, everybody try to dance like us and cook like us and walk like us and talk like us and dress like us. We are the salt of the earth. But our people don't acknowledge the flavor that we bring to this earth. We don't acknowledge it. We just walk around just lost and stupid and try to run from who we are and and our culture and our history. It's a very, very sad time we're living in. It's a terrible thing. Give me, real quick, give me Jeremiah 2. I read this all the time, but I'll give you guys the time to find that. I'll look for it. And I did give it to y'all, so don't tell me you don't have it. Find that thing, because I don't have it here. Jeremiah 2, and read verse 25.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 25. Withhold thy foot from being unshod.
Unshod means, withhold your foot from being unshod means that you're vulnerable. You know, you're not covered fully. So withhold your foot from being unshod. Go ahead.
And thy throat from thirst.
And our throat from thirst meaning what? Understanding, wisdom of the scriptures. When you lack the understanding and that wisdom, guess what? You are going to be athirst. The Bible talks about the word athirst. Thirsty. Go ahead.
But thou saidest, there is no hope.
And it says hope is referring to God himself, the Lord, our God, the only God of the universe. We said what?
There is no hope.
We say there is no God. That Bible is a white man's book. We don't believe in that book. That book is man-made. But your thought process is man-made. Your nationality is man-made, but you don't question that though. Your last name is man-made too. You don't question that either. Well, there is no hope. Come on.
No, for I have loved strangers.
For what?
For I have loved strangers.
That's our problem. It says we have loved strangers. We have loved strangers. The other nations. Go ahead.
And after them will I go.
And after them will I go. That's what we do. We love the other nations. Jump up to 21.
Verse 20.
Jeremiah 2 is terribly insulting. You read the Most High called us all kind of stuff. You love strangers. Read 21.
Verse 21. Yet I have planted thee a noble vine, holy, a right seed.
I have planted you a noble vine, meaning you are you know what noble means? The word noble is found in the word nobility. That means like elite, royal, special, top level, noble. I have planted you a noble vine. Go ahead.
Holy, a right seed.
Holy meaning completely a righteous seed. Go ahead.
How then?
After all of that, what I made you to be, go ahead.
Art thou turned into the degenerate plant?
You become a degenerate plant. A nation of degenerates. Oh, well, you know, slave ships didn't exist. That's a degenerate mindset to have. That's a really stupid thing to say. And when you're degenerate, you say stupid things and don't realize how stupid it is. Go ahead.
The degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me.
We become strange because what? We went after strangers. Because we love them. Y'all got it yet?
Yes, sir. It's up.
Page 12. I'm on page 12 and 13.
Ships and their crews. The most common type of Vanaya vessel used in transoceanic trade was the pala.
The pala. Go ahead.
Possibly a corrupted European rendering of a vernacular.
Wait.
That's not it.
That's not it? Oh, God. Come on, man.
Yo, what's going on? Y'all can't find it?
I sent y'all the book. I had to put the book to the school, had y'all scan it, take a picture of it, and used to have a folder, have it in there. Come on, man. Come on,
hey,
get up. Bring
1
no
Timothy. Get 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 3.
You found it?
1 Timothy.
Chapter 6, verse 3.
And verse 3.
What I realized with some brothers, when we out teaching at camp, some of our, not only are our people dumb as hell, our people don't know anything. A lot of our people, you're going to realize, they just want to argue. They just want to argue. They confused, they lost, they want to argue. That's it. There is no winning some souls over. So brothers, what y'all got to realize, some brothers are a waste of time. In the beginning, I talk to them, hey, go to the scripture, go to that scripture. Then after a while, you realize, you know what, some brothers, there is no convincing them.
They're contrarians.
Common sense is gone.
They're contrarians.
Yeah, watch what.
Just be difficult.
Right. Watch what Paul said about these type of spirits. Watch.
1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 3.
Come on.
If any man teach otherwise.
If any man teach otherwise, meaning against what the Bible says, read.
And consent not to wholesome words.
And consent not to wholesome words. Read.
Even the words of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Right, because we the servants of the Most High. We the servants of Christ.
Right.
That's what makes the Israelites so dangerous. Why you think these Christians and the pastors run from us? Because they know, oh God, them Israelites, they stay in the Bible. They don't leave. You can't convince them. That's what the scriptures tell us to do. Read.
And to the doctrine which is according to godliness.
Now watch this. Verse 4 is going to describe these type of brothers that say, oh, we were never transported on slave ships.
Yep.
We know that's dumb as hell. Verse 4 is going to explain them. Read.
He is proud.
He's proud, meaning what? You can't tell this nigga nothing. You can't tell him nothing. Read.
Knowing nothing.
He knows nothing. You saw the first video we opened up with? That's how he sounds. Read.
But doting about question.
Everything you say to him, he's going to question it. You're going to bring a book, he's going to question it. You're going to bring a scripture, he's going to question it. Why? These spirits, they just want to argue. That's it. And what you're going to find out is when those brothers approach the camp, the crowd walks away.
Yep.
The crowd walks away. Because the sincere spirits that wanted to learn, when these spirits come, that was their goal.
Yep.
Let me just get the crowd away. Read.
Strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmising.
Everything is an argument. Read the next verse.
Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds.
These brothers have corrupt minds. Think about it. How in the world did our ancestors get taken from Africa to America? How? There was no JetBlue. There was no Delta. There was no Frontier, Spirit. Well, that's common sense, but not with these type of brothers. They just want to argue. Read.
And destitute of the truth.
They're destitute of the truth. But guess what? Verse 5 is going to let you know what they do like. Read.
Supposing that gain.
These brothers like to make money. These brothers will create a YouTube page going into the etymology of words. They don't know anything, all to generate views so they can make money.
Damn.
Read.
Supposing that gain.
Supposing that making money
is godliness.
That's what they honor. All they want is money. They don't care about their people. So brothers, what's heavy about what Deke is bringing out, we got to be able to discern those spirits when they come to the camp. Certain spirits, when they come to the camp, when you hear that, don't even entertain them.
Yep. Read the bottom part.
Go ahead. Read.
From such, withdraw thyself.
Withdraw thyself. That brother coming to the, because in your mind, you're thinking, you know what? Let me just embarrass him. No, we can embarrass him, but understand, he just wants to take away the crowd.
Yep.
That's all. So that was it, D. That's how I was going to bring
that's
out.
it. Got the book now, all praises. Give me page 12. Okay, page 12. There we go. Blow it up. Black gold. See that there? Wait. Go up to the top. Slave traffic on the coast of Africa. Now you see, this is one of the most popular pictures we have. You got Ishmael there, Ham, and Edom all together. Okay, this is Joel 3 in full effect here. Joel 3 and 6 in full effect. Now we're gonna go there soon, but let's get it. Let's go down to the paragraph there. Do that.
Black gold. By the middle of the 16th century, more than 10,000 Africans a year were being sold to the European colonists in the West Indies.
Right.
Portuguese ships were the first to engage in the slave
The
traffic.
Portuguese are the first to engage in the slave traffic of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, and then but the Arabs were already doing it back and forth. Go ahead.
But it was not long before Spanish, French, Dutch, and English slavers took it up.
Come on.
The English colonists in the New World imported white indentured workers at first.
That's the Irish and so forth, who they refer to as lesser whites. They call white Irish niggas too, but there's history behind why they call them that. I'll get to that later on. Go ahead.
But found there weren't enough of them. The Indians in the Americas refused to work, or in the main proved to be poorly fitted for long hours of hard labor. In the long run, the Europeans found it easier and cheaper to import Africans as slaves. Thus, by the 17th century, the African slave trade was booming in the Americas.
Right, but it was even cheaper to have Native Americans because Native Americans are already there. But they died faster because they weren't really used to that labor. Well, so they say. But we don't. Yeah.
To compete with the Dutch and French. The King of England in 1672.
What year?
1672.
1672. What would that be? 17th century?
Yes, sir.
17th century. That idiot said, "Oh, there's no ships." 16th century. Guys are retarded, man. Go ahead.
Chartered the Royal African Company, which soon dominated the entire slave trade. The slave dealers made so much money from their human cargoes that soon Africans came to be known as black gold.
We were called black gold. Black gold, or they called us ebony. Go ahead.
The sea lane across the Atlantic, which the slave ships followed from the Gulf of Guinea to New England.
From the Gulf of Guinea to New England. Go ahead.
Chesapeake Bay.
Uh-huh.
The Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico. Go ahead.
Or the Spanish Main was known as the Middle Passage.
Go ahead.
Sailing vessels took many weeks to traverse the Western Ocean. During the long voyage, many slaves died, for they were stacked like logwood in dank holes.
They were stacked like logwood in dank holes. How you think on them guys on the ship? They crammed us like sardines. That's how. Go ahead.
Chained together and allowed on deck only a few minutes per day for fresh air and exercise. In bad weather, they got neither. The food was often spoiled, the water stagnant, their quarters filthy. For each 5 slaves delivered safely to the Americas, historians estimate that 1 perished on the way.
Damn, go ahead.
Some slaves committed suicide by jumping into the water, or even by swallowing their own tongues.
Wow.
Damn.
Go ahead.
Those who rebelled were often shot down or beaten to death on shipboard.
Wow. Come on.
Most of the Africans imported to Americas came from Gambia.
Most of the Africans imported to Americas came from Gambia, the Gold Coast,
the Gold Coast, Guinea, or Senegal.
The
natives.
Come on.
The natives of Senegal, who were often skilled artisans, brought the highest prices. On the other hand, the Igbos from Calabar.
The Igbos from Calabar. Go ahead.
Were rated as undesirable merchandise, as they frequently preferred suicide to bondage.
You did. Go ahead.
Those from the Gaboons were considered weaklings. By the 17th century, slaves could be secured in Africa for about $25 a head, or the equivalent in merchandise, and sold in the Americas for about $150. But later, when the slave trade was declared illegal, Africans brought much higher prices.
Yes, they started doing it secretly. Go ahead.
Many slave ship captains could not resist cramming their black cargo into every foot of space.
Wow.
Even though they might lose from 15 to 20% of the lot on the way across the ocean. It's estimated that 7 million Africans were abducted during the 18th century alone.
1700s, go ahead.
When the slave trade became one of the world's great businesses.
So here's a vessel here. It says section of a vessel showing the way in which slaves were stowed on board. Go up some, go up to the top. Another picture is this guy, the image right here. Oh, this is fake. No, your brain is fake. Loading plane of a slave ship with the irons used for shackling the cargo. Go up. I see where shackles, those are shackles right there. Now, there's a brother that we spoke to named Mr. Ragsdale, had a museum, lest we forget, and he actually has the slave to chains that look just like this in the top right. Okay, rusty. He had also a noose with the blood still burnt on it, burned into the rope. From hanging the brother and burning him. Right. His DNA and blood are still burned on the rope. Okay, you want to say something, Cap?
Yes, sir. No, you in the spirit. I was thinking the same thing. We've been in communication with him for years.
Lest we forget.
We do family trips there.
Yep.
And he collected all of these for years.
Yep.
And since you were talking about the ship and the cruelty that took place on the ship, Mr. Ragsdale brought out many of the slave ships. You could smell it when it was 25 miles off the coast.
Yep.
You could already smell 25 miles off. You could already smell it.
And that's when they built Wall Street. They built the wall up so the town wouldn't smell the odor of the ships docking into New York. So they built Wall Street. Well, we built Wall Street to block out the smell he's referring to when the ships docked into New York on the harbor in Manhattan. Okay, we taught there years ago. And when you go to Wall Street, the stock exchange area, when you go there, that spirit is there. That eerie, familiar. I went there. We went there.
Yeah, remember you did camp on there, right?
We taught camp on the auction block. They were selling black to the Americans in the same spot with George Washington statues right there, and that you get an eerie, if you are in the spirit anyway, you get an eerie feeling, like a weird, like you've been there before. It's odd. The streets are cobblestone.
Yep.
Old school cobblestone. So they ain't changed.
Like nothing ever changed.
Nothing changed. It's how it was and how it's gonna be. Okay.
And I used to work there.
Yeah, I used to work over there too.
And doing messenger. And the trade that they be doing, sometimes I be looking at the envelope. I was getting paid, back then it was, I was younger, the minimum was like $3.35 an hour. I was transporting 65 million to $1 billion check, because you used to have the check in your hand when they're doing the transactions. I'm like, what the hell? In my hand, I'm taking one check from this company, bring it to the other company. $1 billion, $600 million, $550 million. That was crazy. I just said something, Dick. Let me, if I'm not sure. I just said something, OHH. Because remember, you just mentioned that the book says black gold, and they were selling us for $150 in the 17th century. Put that up. Y'all see it?
Telegram, I believe, the OHH Telegram.
This the Google right here, right?
See that? Right there. Black gold. Right? Read that.
Value of $150 from 1690 to 2024. $150 in 1690 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $12,762 today.
That's what we were worth $12,000.
Now you times that by millions of us.
Yep.
Man, that's wealth right there.
Yep.
Black gold.
Right. Black gold. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Oh, real quick to add. Remember when Mr. Ragsdale spoke to us and he said, it's food for thought. Get Isaiah 28 and verse 2. Remember we went to Mr. Ragsdale and he said, he said, I want y'all brothers to pay attention to something. He said, I want you to examine the hurricanes. He said, isn't it very interesting? Hurricanes generally come off the west coast of Africa, and then they make its path into the Gulf of Mexico or right into the Florida area. It follows the path of the ships. So it was just his own thinking. Remember he said that? He said he just finds it interesting that the same route the ships took. Because remember, a lot of those hurricanes, they start around that area on the west coast of Africa.
The water from West Africa, the current is towards the west. So if you ever on a ship and let's say you lose your way, automatically you're gonna sail to Americas. Automatically, you don't go nowhere else. You'll end up in the Americas. The current is westward, and sharks change their course toward that way because the bodies of our bodies are thrown overboard. So the sharks, they traverse that same route based upon the bodies don't overboard as well.
Drop a bomb, IT. Come on, man. Sharks changed their course because so many bodies of our brothers were being thrown off. He brought that out too, Mr. Ragsdale.
He did.
He brought out a lot of history, a lot.
Yeah, Isaiah 28 and 2.
Read this.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 2. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one.
Read.
Which as a tempest of hail.
Tempest of hail.
And a destroying storm.
That's a hurricane. A destroying storm is a hurricane. It don't matter if it's category 1 to 5. All of that is the Lord. Read.
As a flood of mighty waters overflowing shall cast down to the earth with the hand.
Yeah, so when Deke was bringing this out, y'all put out the book, it's just one of those things, there's not a scripture on it, but it's just interesting that the path of the hurricane, a lot of them, they come from the west coast of Africa, and it slowly usually it's a storm, and it turns into a hurricane, and it follows the path and destroys them area where Edomites be at.
Yeah, you notice also, if you have like a tornado, the tornado, Bible belt, the tornado will bypass the hood and just destroy all the white rich houses. Nope, not that house. That one over there. Now you may catch the occasional black house, occasional, but for the most part, those tornadoes will bypass and destroy all the white areas. It's not a coincidence. It's providence. Okay? Give me Psalms 119, verse 80.
Psalm chapter 119, verse 80. Let my heart be sound in thy statutes.
Let my mind be sound or clear or firm in thy statutes. Come on.
That I be not ashamed.
That's the part one. That I be not ashamed. When you learn this Bible, when you learn the commandments of God and you apply them, you gain a certain level of confidence, not only in yourself in terms of righteousness, but in terms of nationality, identity. It keeps your mind sound and firm so that there's no doubt. Oh no, slave ships never existed. You're not thinking like that. You know there's a God, the Bible's a true book, prophecies are real, slave ships are real as well. Our culture, our history, our heritage of coming to this side of the world is very, very real. Get verse 116, same book.
116. Uphold me according unto thy word.
Uphold me means support me according to thy word. Go ahead.
That I may live. And let me not be ashamed of my hope.
Let me not be ashamed of my God. Of this Bible. Earlier in Jeremiah, there is no hope. David said, let me not be ashamed of my hope. Because when you deny the slave ships, you deny your God. Because your God is responsible for all of those things that happened to us. And he was right when he was right in doing it. Because we were evil and stupid as we are today. Because black folks go, well, if there's a God, why would he allow that? Because he can. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a brother, I won't say brother, I'll say a person that's a mobster, a mafia boss, a mob boss. Let's do that level, right? And he a gangster, and he has killed countless people and got away with it. He gets arrested, he gets got best lawyer, he gets off. He kills men, women, and children, he gets off. You're his right-hand man. And you know what he does, because you know what he does. You're behind his, let's say you're his accountant. You're not part of the dirty work, but you do the money laundering, let's say you're part of that, right? You know, worldly speaking, I speak as a man. And this guy, you seen this man throw men over a bridge, throw them in train tracks, put them cement blocks in their feet, throw them in the water, cut them in pieces, throw them in barrels, liquefy their bones, acid, all that stuff, like the movies. That stuff is not fake. The mafia is real. They done these things. John Gotti, these aren't no fake people. So they done these things. So you got people that work for them that know they do what they're capable of. Would you question him? Why you gotta kill people? Why you gotta work illegally? When you know he'll do to you, or what he can get away with doing it to you, you wouldn't question him. Well, guess what? That's how God is. God is the top G. He gangsta up there. He do whatever the hell he wants to do. You can't say or do nothing about it. And if you do, he'll do something to you. That's how he works. Do what I say or die. What's the Bible covenant? The class I taught yesterday. You are blood in, and same as the game. You are blood in, blood out. Amen. We said, amen. Let it be so. You're dealing with a God that flooded the whole earth with water, boy. Men, women, children, infants, everybody dead. Everybody dead. Ain't no one except 8 people. Animals, not even the birds survived. The water was so high, even birds was drowning. They could fly. They found fish on the mountains. They found fish fossils on top of Mount Everest. How'd they get up there? Grand Canyon. How'd they get up there? Flood. God kills the niggas. Bring your truth, Dick. Bring it up, Dick. Everybody gonna just die. Questioning God. You let your damn mind questioning God. You better question yourself before you question God. You know? Y'all crazy out here, man. Crazy in the streets. Oh yeah, another beat to that. Okay, I gotta stay mad longer. Give me Isaiah 54:3.
All praise.
Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 3. For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left.
Read again.
For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left.
Come on.
And thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles.
And our seed will inherit the Gentiles and other nations. The other nations are slaves on the loose. They're walking around running wild without a collar. because their master lost his memory. When we figure out who we are, and the king show up, he gonna put the leash right back on him again, put him back on our hands again. Go ahead.
And make the desolate cities to be inhabited.
Our land, go ahead, 4.
Fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed.
We will not be ashamed of who we are, go ahead.
Neither be thou confounded,
Nor confused about who we are, who our God is.
for thou shalt not be put to shame.
Not be put to shame.
For thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth.
We're gonna forget all the acts of our youth in the beginning. All our evil beginnings, we're gonna forget that. Put it behind us, go ahead.
And shalt not remember the reproach of thy widowhood anymore.
Verse 5.
For thy maker is thine husband.
Our maker is, the nation of Israel is called the Lord's wife. He's our maker, our husband. Go ahead.
The Lord of hosts is his name.
Come on.
And thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. The God of the whole earth shall he be called.
So we're going to remember who we are. We're going to take pride and we're going to have dignity in our nobility, in our history, in who we are. Now, give me the next book, The Voyages of Diogo. It's a very thin brown book, The Voyages of Diogo Cao. Another old book, and I bring out old books. I bring out books that we weren't allowed to have in our libraries. Any book I had that's 1960 or earlier than that is either was in a white people only library. Remember, during that time, you had segregation. You had black libraries and white ones. Right. So if the book goes to 1950, most likely it wasn't in our library. This is not in our library at all. This book goes back to, it's early. The Voyages of Diogo Cao and Bartholomew Dias, Portuguese, 1482 to 88. Give me page 11. Yep, blow it up. Start from it may be presumed. Cao.
It may be presumed that Cao, in the course of this second voyage, gained a fuller knowledge of the coast, first discovered by him to the north of the Congo.
So this is a book going into the history of the Portuguese navigation, their travels along the sea coast of Africa, in their travels and their explorations. Okay, go ahead.
He may thus have visited and named the bay called Golfo de Judeu.
So he may have visited the coast, named the bay, and called it Golfo do Judeu. Go ahead.
The Jews' Bay.
The Jews' Bay what?
Of old maps.
So of old, and I got those maps.
Yeah, we have them.
Got them high def. High def. We got all of them joints. High def. They charge you $50, $100 for a map. I said, man, Google. What? I ain't paying for no damn map that you guys use to find my people and enslave them. Get the hell out of here.
That's right.
Free of charge. We gonna show it free of charge.
That's right.
So this area, this Golfo de Judeu in Portuguese, or the Jews' Bay, found of old maps. Now there's a map. The oldest globe was called Apple. No, it's called, which means Earth Apple. It's the oldest globe made, called the Earth Apple, and it was in Portuguese. And this thing right here, Golfo de Judeu, is on it. Okay, it's on the map along the coast of Africa. Golfo mean Gulf or Bay of Judah, or Bay of Jews, Jews Bay. Read on.
Either because there was a Jew on board his vessel.
BS. So they're going to say the reason why he called the whole area Jews Bay is because of a Jew on his ship. No, that's not why. Read on.
Or what is less likely.
Now he says what's less likely. I'm going to show you how it's nonsense.
Mind games. Because he was struck with the Jewish physiognomy of some of the natives.
Who were there. Go ahead.
Who are absurdly supposed to keep the Jewish Sabbath.
They were supposed to be keeping the Jewish Sabbath. They came across these natives on this area, the Congo, and found them keeping the commandments. Go ahead.
When in reality, they have fetishes and casas de twista like their neighbors. He may also have entered the fine Golfo.
That's all I want. Jump down to there was great rejoicing.
There was great.
No, that's all I want. Now give me page 27 to show that this guy's a liar. Less likely. No, it's more likely. Now read that there. Oh, wait. Where the marks at? Blow it up some more, a little bit more. Go up. Right here. You see Praia de Judeu. Praia is Portuguese for bay also. It's either Golfo or Praia. Right. So on the Earth Apple, one of the oldest maps or oldest globes ever made, they have this term here, Praia de Judeu. Okay, which means Bay of Judah, or Bay of the Jews. Now go down to the bottom. Right there. Read that.
Golfo de Judeo, Jews Bay.
Jews Bay. Go ahead.
Castillo, guided by pimento identifiers. It was Calango Bay.
He identifies Jews Bay with an area known as Calango Bay. Go ahead.
And this I accept, although.
And this, he says, I accept, although what?
Although the Golfo de Judeo of Bahrain, a globe.
Bahrain's globe, you go, Bahrain has an old map also of the African coast. So Bahrain is an ancient map. So he says Bahrain's globe, go ahead.
Seems to represent Laongo Bay.
So this place called Jews Bay became known later on as Loango Bay. Loango Bay, or Jews Bay, go ahead.
Wow, his Golfo de say
Nicalo, go ahead.
December 6th, occupies the place of Calango.
Come on.
The Jew, later on, was converted into an Indian.
So they changed the term, they changed it from Jews Bay to Indian Bay.
What?
Okay? Now, I can't say for certain, but I believe that they brought Northern Kingdom over that side of the world.
Yeah,
they did, okay,
yeah.
brought Northern Kingdom to this side, back to Congo, to work the plantations and named it Indian Bay. Okay? Which is also our people. Go ahead.
And hence, already on Reynolds' chart, 1520, the bay between the Cabo.
Wait. Convert Indian. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
I lost myself. Go ahead.
And hence, already on Reynolds' chart, 1520, the bay between the Cabo Segundo.
The second Cabo, Cabo Segundo. Go ahead.
And the Duas Montas.
This is all Portuguese, so I don't know. Just bear with us. Go ahead.
Right. Kualu is called Golfo de Indio.
Golfo de Indio. Indians and Jews are the same people, so it's no coincidence. Read on.
The Reprendino dos Tempos, 1521, however, has an Angro da Judea.
Angra da Judea is still Bay of the Jews. Angra, Praia, and Golfo are the same word. It means bay or port. Go ahead.
2 degrees to the north of the Congo. And Reno's position only suits Calango Bay.
Come on.
Later, authorities distinguished between a Golfo de Judeo and a Golfo de Indio, identifying the latter with Laongo Bay.
So it's the same place. So Jews Bay or Indian Bay is known today as became known as Loango Bay. Go down to the bottom of the page. You see something? Go back to page 11 again. Page 11. Go back to page 11 again. Go back to page 11. You got plenty of time. Page 11.
When we start from D.
Go to the bottom of the page. Let me see something. Right there. Read right there at the bottom. Now go up to it. Go up real quick. You should see a cross somewhere. A cross. Right there. See that right there? Neighbors, the cross right there at the bottom. Jews' physiognomy. Read that again. It's because less likely. What is less likely? The lie. Read the lie.
What is less likely? Because he was struck with the Jewish physiognomy of some of the natives who are absurdly supposed to keep the Jewish Sabbath.
So who are supposedly supposed to have been keeping the Sabbath. Now you see a cross on the bottom there and next to neighbors. Now go to the bottom of the page. See what that represents. Footnote. Read what it says there.
Mokoyo, near Chinchau, in one of the principal villages of these supposed Jews.
See what he's doing? See what they're saying now? Of one of the principal areas or villages of these supposed Jews. Why? They found them keeping the Sabbath. They found them keeping Mosaic law on the Congo. Now, get me, type in Loango Bay in Wikipedia. Loango Bay, just Google it. Well, put it on the screen, we can see you type it in. Let's see what we get. Loango Bay. Type in Loango Bay and see what comes up.
And also Israel support.
Yes, support.
Right there.
There you go, support. Support us.
The Booster Club.
Donate. You know how we do. You know we're very, very thorough what we do. Trying to the land fund, to the Booster Club. You see what we do with the money. You see where the funds go. We're very transparent with our actions regarding the funds and where they go. What we do with them. We're not riding around in Bentleys and Maseratis, in personal jets. Okay? We out here doing the work of the Lord. So support, donate what you can when you can. We don't want a tenth of your money either. We don't do tithing here. All right? Be a cheerful giver. All right? You got it I want?
No, because he's spelling it wrong again.
Oh, God.
Hey.
Loan.
And take out wiki. Take wiki out. Just put Luongo Bay.
Yeah, Luongo Bay. Loango. Loango Bay. Please spell Bay properly, Jesus Christ. Don't spell Bay with an E. Or an I. By, oh, God.
He got an N. Yo, listen, take it out. Wow. All right. So Loango.
Philadelphia. We got
Philly.
We got paper for the schools in Philadelphia, man.
There you go.
I bet you if there was Abaddon that messed up, you would have found that thing. Oh, remember that song they got?
Take a look.
Speak your truth, Cap. That's right. That's right, Cap.
Hey, play a song for yourselves. Play a song for yourselves.
Play that song for yourself.
Play the song.
Play that song for yourselves.
There you go.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Where we at?
And write yourself up, too.
Luongo Slavery Harbor.
Wait. What is it called?
Slavery Harbor.
Luongo Slavery Harbor was once called what? Jews Bay.
How do you know?
Jews Bay.
They got Jews from there.
They got Jews from there. And a very, very large amount of them from here. Read on.
Is a Republic of the Congo. Cultural site included in World Heritage Tentative
It says ancient port disembarkment des esclaves, slaves of Luongo.
Right. That's when they used to embark the slaves.
Yes. That's what it says here. What's that? French? What is that?
French.
I can read that. I can read it.
Yeah,
ancient port of disembarkement of the slaves of Luongo.
Dang.
Bam! Acts 2. Le Plum.
Where's this?
Geek from the tribe of Levi now?
No, I'm Judah all day.
That was a little fluent.
That's how I speak French.
That was too fluent. That was a little fluent.
I got it. All praises. I'm sorry.
All praises.
When the Spirit is on you, man, you speak in tongues.
Spend too much time around the captain and lava. That's what happens, man. Just learn words. All right, go back to it again.
Is a Republic of the Congo. Cultural site included in World Heritage Tentative List in 2008-09.
Come on.
Luongo Slavery Harbor is part of the Henda District in Kalau Department. This site is limited by Point Indian to the southeast, Atlantic Ocean to the south and to the southwest. To the northwest, the village of Matambi. And to the northeast.
Let's go down to history. Go down to history now. History. Right, the guy mentioned his number right here. Read that.
From 1500 to 1867, the vessels in the Atlantic slave trade moved nearly 12.5 million African slaves from the coast of Africa to the Americas and the Caribbean.
12.5 million. Remember, we were $12,000 a head. Captain put that out earlier.
Yes.
So $12,000 a head times the 12.5 million.
Somebody do the math real quick.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, also, do we have Babylon Timbuktu? Because he goes in depth about Luongo as well.
Go down real quick. Go down. Right there. Read here. Go on some more. Show the whole thing. Right there. Read that.
Luongo Coast and Angola Coast. That's the boarding area. Captive numbers. You want to read this, D?
Yes, I do.
5,694,574.
Percentage
45.48%.
That's almost 50% of us are brought over here from that port. The majority of slaves brought to this side of the world in the Caribbean came from Luongo. Jews Bay. 5,694,574. 45.48% of us. Just from there alone. That's a lot of body. That's a lot of black gold.
Right, yes, sir.
Next one.
The Bida Benin, 1,999,060.
That's Levi was bought from there. 15.97%. Go ahead.
Bida Biafra and other islands of Gulf of Guinea, 1,594,560, 12.73%. The Gold Coast, 1,209,321, 9.66%. Santa Gambia, 755,713, 6.04%.
Watch this.
Eastern Coast and Indian Ocean Islands.
Whoa. I didn't know that was even in here. I know that was even there. East Coast and Indian Ocean Islands. Go ahead.
542,668.
Because the Portuguese had ports over there too.
It's your Philippines and all
Philippines, that's India. Look into that. Solomon Islands,
Yep.
Queensland of Australia. Go ahead.
4.33%. Sierra
That's a
Leone.
lie. It's way more. It's millions. I got books. It's millions. It's as much as 5 million in Indian Ocean. Don't fall for that, because the Arabs were involved in that. Go ahead.
Sierra Leone.
A lot of these rich Arabs got slave money. That little Prince Salman, that Prince dude over there, slave money, guarantee you. Go ahead.
Sierra Leone, 388,771, 3.10%. Ivory Coast, 336,868.
In total, Cap.
Total 12,521,300, 100%.
But 50% of that is from the Luango coast and Angola coast. Now, let's go further. Let's go further. Give me the Atlantic Slave Trade Atlas. Slave Trade Atlas.
That's a good book.
This atlas right here, make yourselves acquainted with it. The Atlas of the Atlantic Slave Trade. Let me see it. No, not that one.
That's not it.
That's not it. It's the Atlas of the Atlantic Slave Trade. The Atlas of the Atlantic Slave Trade. It's a big book I brought to y'all. It's big and brown. Big brown book. The Atlas of the Atlantic Slave Trade. You copy mad pages from that book. There we go. That's the one I want you. Let me see it on my screen.
You got that figure real quick?
Those of you watching, those of you on here, you better write this book down. Book is bad. This book is fire. It has everything in it.
Everything.
Regarding the slave trade. Okay? Don't believe a Negro. Believe the books. Believe the history. Records. All right? The Negroes will just talk with no facts, no evidence of any kind. Give me page 142. Still doing Luango. I got Babylon Timbuktu already. Babylon Timbuktu, I got
Yes,
it
sir.
already.
I don't want to jump the gun on that. Yes, sir.
Page 142 of this book.
Yo, what y'all looking for that, man? Put that number up real quick.
No,
The black
we
gold
got it.
number. You got it?
Is this the page? All right, get what Captain LaQuart want real quick until y'all find the page.
In the 17th century, that's how much money there was made.
Oh my God,
Yo.
man.
150 billion.
That was in 1700s.
$150 billion.
That's why you call black gold.
Black gold.
And that's why they call
$150 billion in black gold.
old money. That's
money?
old money.
Old money.
That's so-called Jew. That's Jewish money.
Yes, I'm like money.
Hey, and you know what's so heavy about this?
Going into that too.
It goes back to Bishop Yalsop always bringing out the point that the American economy was started off the backs of slaves. All of us, all of our ancestors came from one of those 8 countries in Africa. All of us come from one of them. For 150 billion, and not one of our families received reparations. Think about it. Think about it. Not one of our families received, not even, let's say we're not gonna deal with money. Okay, look, give them free schooling. Your whole generation, school is free. Whatever trade you wanna learn, free. Why would they do that? Because now that's gonna give you access to be a leader amongst your people. Now that's gonna, scriptures say never trust thine enemy. Go ahead, that was
Hey,
Got a
D,
book?
I got something else to add on to that. The magazine page that I posted earlier, it's the 1892 one. You got a blue highlight.
Hey, we were the stocks. We were the stocks on the Wall Streets and so forth. That was us. They was trading. Now today it's companies, but that stemmed from us.
Yeah.
It's the book.
It's a magazine right here.
It's a magazine.
Yeah.
What
Hold
year?
up.
Damn, what year is this?
1892.
Okay, it's the
See
White
it
House
on
only.
the top. Yep. January 1892.
Yep. It's called
Now
the
go to the next page.
Pacific Rural
Yeah, my
Pacific Rural Press.
The first highlighted portion.
All right. At the beginning of this century, many who passed as respectable men.
So it's saying at the beginning of the century, meaning at the beginning of the 1800s, in the very beginning, those respectable men, those that were looked upon at high esteem during that society at the time, right? Read.
Retired from business. On from $200,000 to $500,000.
$200,000 to $500,000. They retired during that time, meaning that's a lot of money at the beginning of the 1800s. A lot of money. So these respectable men retired from business during that time. Let's see what they retired from. Read.
Which were then considered enormous fortunes.
Of course, we've seen the numbers. We could do the numbers now. It was going to be millions upon millions of dollars. Read.
Those men, when asked by what means they had accumulated such fortunes, replied with jovial expression of countenance.
Meaning they were happy to tell the people, what did you retire from? So they were happy to tell them, this is what I retired from. Let's see what they retired from. Read.
Oh, wool and ivory.
Oh, I traded wool and ivory. That's what I did. Read.
Which everybody understood to mean piracy and the slave trade.
So these respectable men in the beginning of the 1800s,
wool and ivory.
They code word slavery and piracy is just stealing wool and ivory. Everybody knew what it meant. They knew it meant, yo, you traded slaves and you retired from slave trading, and now you're a multi-millionaire. And those are the same families today that own damn near everything.
Yep. And the wool is the hair, that's us, and the ivory is the tusks of the elephants.
Yep. So,
ivory. Give Revelation 18 real quick.
It's the same code word: black gold, ebony,
black gold,
wool,
ebony,
ivory,
wool. Yep. They were shipping up in tusks and slaves, though. That's what they were doing.
You can't have piracy without ships.
Yep, you cannot. You cannot.
So it's letting you know
ships.
they were trading in ships.
Yep.
They still have piracy up to today.
Yep. Revelation 18, verse 12. Revelation chapter 18, verse 12. The merchandise of gold and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thy fine wood. Come on. And all manner of vessels of ivory. All manner what? Vessels of ivory. What vessel is that? A ship. Vessels of ivory. Wool and ivory. Go ahead. And all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble. Where's this usually from? Africa. In abundance is in Africa. Go ahead. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep produce and horses and chariots. Come on. And slaves and souls of men. There you go. That's the merchandise. That's the wool and ivory. Evil merchants. Go back to the book now.
Hey, Deke. What we're reading about is how America became Babylon the Great.
Yep.
Because Ezekiel says, through thy traffic thou hast gotten great riches.
Right.
So we're reading about how all the nations became to look to America as the, the power on the earth.
Yep. Right. We're the reason behind the greatness of Babylon. Right. We're behind his greatness. Read that, the page I want. You found it, 142? Y'all don't have 142? Come on, man.
Hey, and you know what's so heavy about what's coming out? This is why it's so important to homeschool. This is why it's important to homeschool our children. Because all of these books we bringing out, they're not in the Board of Ed. They're not in the Board of Ed. The Board of Ed is using what textbooks? Owned by Pearson. That's a British-owned company. They got about, out of the 14 chapters, maybe one deals with the slave trade. I remember in school, think about high school, when your teacher had to touch on the slave trade, especially if he was an Edomite, that topic was barely addressed. Why? Because you have the enemy teaching our children. That's why we got to homeschool. Why? Because guess what? There is no cap on what to bring. We could bring out all of this. You understand? Get Sirach 12 and 10. Get Sirach 12 and 10. That's why if you can, we got to homeschool our kids.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10.
Come on.
Never trust thine enemy.
The Bible says never trust thine enemy. So when we're sending our kids to a school system that was designed, this is what we're doing. When our kids go to these schools were designed by white supremacists. They were designed by white supremacists. There is nothing good your child is going to get from the school system. He's going there to learn how to be a slave. So that you have all the advantage in homeschooling. Read it again.
Never trust thine enemy.
Come on.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
It says as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So that's what the school system is about. And now what's the new thing they push in the school system? LGBT. Drag story time. The school system is corrupt. But all these books we bring, that's why when we bring these books out, you know how shocked our brothers are? What book is that? Where did you get that book? All the books they use in the school system, you know that was specifically chosen? They chose specific authors. Why? Because they don't want our people to go and start looking for their history. That was it, D.
So they call them white eyes only.
Yep.
White eye call them white eyes only. Give me Babylon Timbuktu. Forget it. Y'all just don't know what's going to happen today. What's happening today? Babylon Timbuktu. That means you skip the page, because I gave out that page. Babylon Timbuktu. I want page 127. Hopefully I have this one. It's from Babylon Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor.
This should have that one. Which book?
It's the Atlas, one I showed earlier. Page 142.
Yeah, try to get on Internet Archive.
Try to get on Internet Archive or Google. Go back to the title again. You'll send it to him. You send the picture of the book up. Or show it to him. Babylon Timbuktu. I want page 127.
Y'all gotta have Babylon Timbuktu, bro.
We've had that book for years. That should be on deck. So what I'm showing y'all is that, what we're showing you guys is that when we bring out these things, we're not saying, oh, the white man tells the truth and everything, but we're showing that these books were written in a time where we weren't allowed to have them. We weren't allowed access to these books. They had their own libraries. We had our own libraries. By 1892, it was definite segregation at that time. It was definite segregation during that time. So a lot of these books and magazines are not in the circles of black folk. That's why I bring these books out. I call them white eyes only. Because white folks will pass it among themselves. That wasn't a magazine for us. Wool and Ivory. That was for them. That was for them. And if we did read it, it didn't matter if we read it because we were still, going through hell at that time. You got it? Page 127.
Hey, D, even with what Captain Jan was bringing out about how we have to homeschool our children, it's the same thing the past revolutionaries understood.
Yeah.
Like Malcolm X said, only a fool will allow his enemies to teach their children.
Right.
But that's why Deuteronomy said, well, you have to learn the former days. It says, ask thy fathers,
right,
not the other nations, because you're going to find out a lie about yourself.
Yep. You got it here? Let me see it. Blow it up on my screen, please. All right. All praises. Read that. This should be good.
When David Livingstone was in Africa, he discovered a settlement of educated blacks about the year 1847.
David Livingstone has his own book that we read all the time, Bishop has it in Shout Out Tuesday. This is the Edomite that traveled into Africa, him among others. Him, Mungo Park. Okay, these guys traveled throughout Africa, spent time among the Africans, well, so-called Africans, and learned and explored them and documented their culture and things of that nature. So he spent time he came across a settlement of educated blacks in the year 1847. Now, he received Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. So during his time doing this, we were slaves over here. Read on. They
were located inland, about 200 miles from the Luanda coast, and are known as the Jews of Angola.
Known as what?
The Jews of Angola.
Remember, the bulk of slaves were taken from Luango and Angola. It was called Jews Bay. That is the reason why. They knew who they were shipping over. Read on.
These black Jews were active in commerce, eager to learn, and possessed much knowledge of Portuguese history and law.
Because these are the slaves they did not get. We were further inland. The Hamites didn't conquer us in this area here. So when he traveled further inland, he discovered us there chilling, keeping our laws, being educated. Okay? And speaking what? It says that we had knowledge of Portuguese history and law. Why did these black people in Angola have knowledge of Portuguese history and law? Read on. It's going to say why.
In their commercial enterprises. These Jews penetrated in their commercial enterprises. These Jews.
These what?
These Jews.
These Jews of Angola, Africa. Go ahead.
Penetrated inland, hundreds of miles from the coast, and were known.
Hundreds of miles from where?
From the coast.
So they couldn't get us. Those who were on the coast got caught up by the Portuguese, the Arabs and Hamites and so forth, and was sold off. Those of us who were further inland were more, I guess we were safer. So they didn't get it. They didn't get a hold of them. But they did get us later on with Belgium, Congo. They got us then. Right. Then they got us. Go ahead. Netherlands. Go ahead.
And were known also as clerks and writers. Livingstone considered these Jews to be deportees from Portugal.
What?
Livingstone considered these Jews to be deportees from Portugal.
During the Spanish Inquisition, our people fled into Angola, into Congo. During the Spanish Inquisition. That's why they were so educated in what? Portuguese law and history. And language also. Go ahead.
St. Paul de Luanda began, like San Thome, as a penal colony for the punishment.
Penal colony.
Penal colony for the punishment of criminals.
Right, they shipped us off to the St. Paul de Luanda, began like St. Thomas Island, as a penal colony for punishment of criminals. Meaning what? Those who refused to accept white man Jesus were shipped off as slaves to Luanda and to St. Thomas Island and Cape Verde and the Canary Islands and Madeira Islands and the Seychelles Islands. Go ahead. Seychelles or Seychelles Islands, whatever you pronounce that thing. Go ahead.
In Portugal, many of these black Jews were considered criminals. Also,
by the Catholic Church. Go ahead.
Also, many of these black Jews.
Of these what?
Black Jews.
Now he calls them black Jews. Because he knows who they are or who they were. Go ahead.
Of the land of Angola.
Angola, go ahead.
It is said, came from San Thome Island.
A lot of us, over time, we stuck our way out of St. Thomas Island and back to Angola. Okay, we escaped. Read on.
All available evidence indicates that the Jews of the Angola coast were Portuguese Jewish outcasts.
All available evidence indicates that the Jews of the Angola coast or Luango Bay were Portuguese Jewish outcasts. So they named the port Luango Bay or Jews Bay, Golfo de Judeo, because they encountered these same people there and sold them off. That's what happened. Go down. Go up. Let me see. Go up. Let me see.
You want to read that whole thing?
Yeah, read that. Read many blacks.
Many black Jews were established inland and along the coast of Angola.
What's on the screen? What's that? Read it again. Many black, come on.
Many black Jews were established inland and along the coast of Angola, the Congo, and Gabon.
Many black Jews were established inland and along the coast of Angola, the Congo, and Gabon. That's why it was called the Jews Bay. Golfo de Judeo, the coast of the Jews. Coast of Angola, coast of Congo, coast of Gabon. One of the slaves that was shipped over to Mexico, his name was Jasper Yanga. He was of Gabonese. Jasper Yanga. Okay, he built one of the first black free towns in Mexico. He was Gabonese, of royalty there. Go ahead.
Frederick Retzel writes that the tribes on the Luango coast and the Gabinda, north of the Congo River, were once Christianized.
Why? Because they fled from Spain and Portugal. Go ahead.
Retzel observed a ceremony of baptism followed by circumcision.
So they merged Judaism and Christianity together among themselves. Go ahead.
However, these tribes were Jewish in origin.
It makes it clear these tribes were Israelites in origin. Go ahead.
Christianity. The Christianity Retzel saw among them was a disguise.
Why? Because they knew if white folks show up here, just pretend we're Christians. They won't enslave us. So he said, these guys are faking. These aren't real Christians. They're faking it. They're keeping Israelite customs. Because they learned that from in Spain and Portugal. Go ahead.
The circumcision practice among them is of Jewish derivation.
Their children were circumcised what? The 8th day. Go ahead.
The Christians in Portugal did not practice circumcision. In fact, Cecil Roth wrote that circumcision.
Cecil who?
Roth.
Cecil Roth was a so-called. We have their books. Nahum Slotz, Cecil Roth. We have their books. They say this. He got this from their books. The author, Rudolph R. Windsor, we spoke to him personally. He's a very, very known author among us, very highly respectable author, a black author among us. And people say, oh, his books is fake, he gets misinformation. We bought his sources. A lot of our classes revolve around his source material, written by Jewish authors, Israeli authors. Go down to the bottom, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Whenever
the Jews were in Spain, Portugal, or their colonial possessions, they disguised themselves as Christians in outward form, but practiced Judaism in secret. Many of these new Christians knew Christian rights better than the old white Christians.
Right, because we were Israelites. We knew the Bible better than them. Go ahead.
In the year 1547.
In the year 1547. Go ahead.
The papal office authorized the establishment of the system of the Inquisition in Portugal. The word Inquisition means inquiry or investigation.
That law was passed just for us to find out these guys are keeping the Jewish law, enslave them, or kill them. Go ahead.
The Inquisition consisted of a tribunal of religious judges.
Edomites.
Its purpose was to investigate and purge out heretical Christians, persons who questioned certain Christian principles.
But read again. Persons who what?
Purpose was to investigate and purge out heretical Christians, persons who questioned certain Christian principles.
We would challenge Christianity. We challenged white Jesus. We challenged Easter. We challenged Christmas. We challenged that Eucharist cookie, baby Jesus. If you challenged it, you were either incarcerated or you were enslaved or killed. That's what the Inquisition is all about. Go ahead.
Although some white Portuguese Christians suffered at the hands of the Inquisition.
Some white Portuguese means these are the converts.
Yes, so-called.
These are the so-calleds. Khazars that converted. Some of them suffered from the hands of the Inquisition. Go ahead.
This system was mainly directed against the new Christians, the secret black.
So they didn't target the converts, Israelis. They targeted the black Jews. So if the white Jews are keeping the laws and say, we ain't gonna mess with you, you're our people, you'll be all right. Well, we might step in the wrist. Don't do that no more. But we're gonna put you in a slave ship. We're gonna enslave and kill you. We're gonna take your land and confiscate your goods.
Hey,
that's what happened.
They became plantation owners.
They became planters. Yes, they became planters. And conquistadors too.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The Inquisition were persistent, gruesome, and ruthless in the totality of their procedures. They interfered in the private affairs of individuals. They intimidated and coerced individuals to inform on their neighbors.
So they coerced simple-ass evil niggas to snitch on their own people when they were keeping the laws of God. Because these guys are, they call it meritorious manumissions. It rewards you, Negro, if you're telling your people who's trying to keep the laws of God. We'll tell on you and get rewarded for it. That's what happened. And Blade called them familiars. I hate familiars. That's what Blade said in the movie. That's what they are. Deacon Frostboy. Informants. Like some of y'all have been here.
Coons.
Go ahead.
They employed
agents. Go ahead.
They employed a wide variety of continuous horrendous tortures, including public shows of burning human beings at the stake.
They called this auto de fe, act of faith. And they wore the same hood you see the KKK wear. They're called caparoni. Damn. They wore that exact same suit, KKK suit, at the burnings. And called it auto de fe, act of faith. Burning us alive at the stake, publicly. Not the white ones, the black ones. I'm going to prove it to y'all too. Read on.
And in order to satisfy
the white ones got some jail time. The black ones got enslaved forever and shipped off and lost their children. Read on.
In order to satisfy their desires for the punishment of heretics, they sought out not only the living, but also the dead.
They robbed our graveyards. If you were rich Israelites, them same converts, so-called, would grave rob our riches and use it for themselves. Or intermarry into our families and rat us out. And take our possessions and take on our name as themselves. That's what they were doing.
And today they still do that by
Yeah.
taking our organs.
Yep, right, exactly.
They're
Organ
taking your
trafficking.
yeah, they're taking the organs
Yep.
and they sell them.
Hey, Deke, let me add what you was just bringing out. It says the same thing. Get the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 10. And this was done by white people, Caucasians, Edomites. Look at this history. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 10.
2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 10.
Now, to be specific, this was done by the Greeks. Watch, read.
For there were 2 women
These
brought
are 2 black women, Jews, read.
who had circumcised their children.
They circumcised their children. They went against the king's orders, Antiochus. They said, no, we still going to circumcise our children, read.
Whom, when they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall.
Read.
And others that had run together into caves nearby.
And other black Jews that had ran together into caves nearby. Why? Read.
To keep the Sabbath day secretly.
What did the book say earlier? These were Jews practicing it in secret. We did the same thing during the time of the Greeks. Antiochus put an order out. No Jews are to observe their religion. He set up governors, Edomites. Philip was one of the governors over this area. This was a white man. What did it say? What did it do? Read.
And others that have run together into caves nearby.
Come on.
To keep the Sabbath day secretly.
To keep the Sabbath day secretly. Read.
Being discovered to Philip.
What did he do?
Were all burnt together.
Didn't we just read it in this book? Tortures, including public shows, burning human beings at the stake. They did the same thing during the time of the Greeks. Now you see why the white man took the Maccabees out the Bible.
Yep.
He didn't want you to remember this history. Read it again.
And others that have run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secret.
Come on.
Being discovered to Philip were all burnt together.
Read.
Because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day.
All praises to the Most High.
Read on.
Now, I beseech those that read this book.
Read this book, come on.
That they be not discouraged for these calamities.
Don't be discouraged by what you read. That's happened with these Negroes today. I'm not in the slave ships. I'm discouraged by being a slave or a child of a slave. They're discouraged. The Bible says be not discouraged at these things. Read on.
But that they judge those punishments not to be for their destruction, but for a chastening of our nation.
The what?
But for a chastening of our nation.
I said it earlier, God do what he want to do. Read the next verse.
For it is a token of his great goodness.
It is a token of God's great goodness. Go ahead.
When wicked doers are not suffered any long time.
We were the wicked doers. We're not allowed to do evil for a long time. Go ahead.
But forthwith punished.
Watch verse 14.
For not as with other nations.
But when it comes to other nations now, go ahead.
Whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish.
He's waiting to do something to them. Go ahead.
Till they become to the fullness of their sins.
Watch.
So dealeth he with us.
Same thing. So right now, Esau's having fun right now. He ain't reached his fullness yet. When he reaches his fullness, it's the most I say, okay, Lord, my son, go down there. Make him your footstool.
And you know what's so heavy about that, D? A lot of y'all, we tired of captivity, right, brothers? We tired of captivity, right? But we got to be patient. Remember in Peter, it says, but the Lord is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. The reason the Most High didn't bring World War III, the reason Christ didn't make his second coming is because the Most High is not willing that all should perish. The Most High wants our people to repent. So in order for our people to repent, what do we need, brothers? Teachers. We need more teachers in the streets. So we need more of you brothers to join MOV. What you waiting on? You want Christ to come back? Join MOV, get that poker shirt on.
Read verse 15.
Lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us.
Verse 16.
And therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us.
Stop. Therefore, he never withdraws his mercy from us. He'll chastise us. You think it's terrible? Oh my God, slave ships? Oh man, yokes of iron, the rape, the murder, the castration, the scattering. That was terrible. God said, that's true, but I do love you. I have mercy on you after a while. Read on.
And though he punished with adversity,
he punished. We're reading right here. We're reading about our adversities. We're reading about it. Go ahead.
Yet doth he never forsake his people.
He will never forsake his people. Read the next verse.
But let this that we have spoken be for a warning unto us.
Be a what?
Be for a warning unto us.
Meaning what? Don't play with God. Don't play with him. Let this be a warning for us. Why? Because all this right here we're reading is going to happen again. That's what he's saying. Read on.
And now we will come to the declaring of the matter in few words.
Meaning an abbreviation. Because the author of Maccabees left a lot of things out. Because it was too much. It would have scared us out the Bible. I ain't reading that no more. He had to balance it out. Now, go back to Timbuktu, Babylon. We're on page what?
We may have good news. They may have found the page.
Oh, we may have found the page.
Oh, they found the page.
Oh, wow.
Hey. 142.
Did you have it all along? You did? Oh, you found it.
You found it.
Oh, you're right,
You're
man. You're right, man. You're right.
Research.
Now, me dad's number one and you're number two. Me dad, blame me for this, bro.
Officer Manny is
Amos is three still. Amos still third place.
He's not as bad as he looks, man. He's good.
Me dad's dancing last night made me
Let's
realize
go
he's
to
number one
Philly, man.
always.
This is some love and hate relationship between this brother.
Yeah. All praise. That's what I wanted. So, blow it up there. Yeah, that's what I wanted, man. That's what I wanted. Go over. Yeah, map of Luango, 99. Map 99 Luango. Destination of slaves, home ports of vessels, Revelation 18, vessels of ivory, carrying them from 1556 to 1807. Now, the Inquisition started around 1493.
92,
93, Inquisition started. So this is right after that. So go over there, go down to Africa, go down. Right there, blow it up. See Luango there? Wait. Bring it in. Luango right there. Now bring it out some so we can see more of the page. Number of captives, go down. 400,000. Documented. Embarkations and disembarkations. 106,000. Damn, it's a lot of people. So you got, go to the map, you see Luango, Rio de la Plata. You got Salvador de Bahia, Pernambuco, Recife, Amazonia, the top, French Guyana, Dutch Guyana, that'd be Honduras, Trinidad and Tobago, go up. That's the islands there. See inside, you got West Indies. Well, come back. Puerto Rico, Domingue, you got Jamaica, Spanish Caribbean mainland, Cuba, go up. You got Gulf Coast, Carolinas, Georgia, Charleston, Chesapeake, Northern U.S. The Congolese were brought all throughout the Americas, man. That's all I want you to see. All praise to the Lord. Say that page.
Hey, D, real quick. Those Congolese that was brought to Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, look up the Stono Rebellion.
Remember, they were Jews. These were Jews that did not escape, that escaped from the Inquisition, but dwelt in the ports. They got caught up. The ones who dwelt further inland, they was good money until, of course, the Berlin Conference came about. And it was a wrap. Where the King Leopold came through and destroyed us. Cut our hands off for rubber. What's happening out there? All right.
The Stono Rebellion, also known as Cato's Conspiracy or Cato's Rebellion, was a slave revolt that began on September 9, 1739, in the colony of South Carolina, It was the largest slave rebellion in the Southern colonial era, with 25 colonists and 35 to 50 African slaves killed. The uprising leaders were likely from the Central African Kingdom of Congo, as they were Catholic and some spoke Portuguese.
Damn. Those are Jews. They were Catholic and spoke Portuguese. Why? Because they were the Israelites. They were Jews.
Go down, go down, go down, go down some more, go down, go down, go down, go down. I'll tell you to stop, keep going.
They won't tell you why they spoke Portuguese. They say they spoke Portuguese.
Stop it here.
Why?
Jimmy, African background. Jimmy, the leader of the revolt, was a literate slave.
Literate. He can read. He was not illiterate. He was a literate slave.
Deacon, he knew Portuguese history. He knew
and the laws, yeah. Go ahead.
Described in an eyewitness account as Angolan. Historian John K. Thornton has noted that he was more likely from the Kingdom of Congo, as were the cohort of 20 slaves that joined him. The slaves were Catholic and some spoke Portuguese, both of which point to Congo. A lengthy trade relationship with the Portuguese had led to the adoption of Catholicism and learning of the Portuguese language in the kingdom.
Nah, they knew it already. Go ahead.
The leaders of the Kingdom of Congo had voluntarily converted in 1491, followed by their people by the 18th century. The religion was a fundamental part of its citizens' identity.
Identity. They became their religion became their identity. They became Portuguese, basically. Go ahead. Catholic. Go ahead.
The nation had independent relations with Rome. Slavery was present in the region, and it was regulated by Congo. That's all I want.
Damn. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Go back to Babylon, Timbuktu again. Babylon, Timbuktu again. We're at page, what was it, 130?
129. We never finished. What page you want it?
Come on, Timmy. Y'all was doing good.
Come on, Babylon, Timbuktu.
No, I'm looking at it. Y'all don't have it.
Let me see it on our screen.
Deacon, put on Deacon's screen.
There we go. Read that there.
Garcia de Horta, a Jew of Portugal, was discovered to have been a secret Jew. His body was dug up out of his grave and burned by the Inquisition.
When they found out later, when they found out after he died, he was a Jew keeping the commandments, they dug him up and burned his dead body. Esau is petty, bro. Esau is petty. No, they robbed his body. They robbed him first. Then they burned him. Go ahead.
In another case, a Jewish woman by the name of Elvira del Campo was indicted and tortured for 2 years in order to elicit a confession from her.
They tortured her for 2 years to force her to confess. Go ahead.
The charges against her were not eating pork.
She refused to eat pork. Go ahead.
And putting on clean linen on Saturdays. According to this woman, these charges were not heretical practices. She wanted to be clean, and pork made her sick. Whenever the Christian Jews could escape from Spain and Portugal beyond the reach of the Inquisition, they threw off the guise of Christianity and practiced Judaism openly, as they did in Turkey. However, the unfortunate new Christians, nominal Christians, are secret
Nominal
Jews.
means the fake Christians. Go ahead. Which is us. Go ahead.
In Portuguese possessions in Western Africa, India, and elsewhere could not throw off the disguise of Christianity.
Wait. This is the Portuguese possessions in Western Africa and India. And elsewhere could not throw off the disguise of Christianity. Because you had our people in India and you had people in Africa trying to pretend to be Christians, but they were not. And they were not good at pretending. Some of them. Go ahead.
The Inquisition even dispatched its inquisitorial agents.
They sent Christian Catholic police after us. Catholic cops after us. Go ahead.
To the Canary Islands.
There were Jews there.
Madeira.
There were Jews there.
Guinea.
There were Jews there.
India.
There were Jews there.
South America.
There were Jews there.
San Tome.
There were Jews there.
And Angola.
They were Jews to do what?
And in order to search out secret Jews.
That's how you know Israel was all in these areas. Go ahead.
From 1561 to 1623, about 3,800 individuals were tried. Many of them were Christian Jews of San Tome Island.
Yep, that's how you know they were black ones. Go ahead.
They were charged with maintaining Jewish principles.
Charged with maintaining biblical principles. Go ahead.
Cicero wrote that Christian Jews immigrated to the Portuguese colony of Angola in West Africa, where agents of the Inquisition were sent to hunt them out in 1626.
Right, and the ones that did not escape that were on the coast. The ones that were safe from that were further hundreds of miles inland. who David Livingstone came across in the book we read earlier. Read on.
Now, we can understand why writers like Frederick Retzel considered the tribes along the Luongo and Cabinda coast Christians. These Jews had to maintain a Christian guise, and particularly so in the presence of white people.
Damn.
Any European could have been an agent of the Inquisition.
Yep.
It is certain that many black Jews of Portugal,
And
Saint Tome,
Go on.
and Angola, who became victims of the Inquisition and Portuguese persecutions, were sold in the slave trade.
Wow. There you go. Was sold. Come on.
This Atlantic slave trade lasted more than 400 years.
Come from what year?
From 1444 to about 1880 in some parts of South America.
There you go. Now, get me the next page. Next page. Go over 130. Oh, give me page 132. Only the highlighted parts. Can't make this up. Give me 2 Maccabees real quick. 6 and 17, verse 18, regarding the sister being charged why she ain't eating pork.
2 Maccabees. You said chapter 6.
Yeah, 2
Yes, sir.
Maccabees 6. We left there earlier.
Second
Verse 18.
2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth.
Was forced to open his mouth. Go ahead.
And to eat swine's flesh.
Same thing with the Greeks. The same thing with the Greeks. Was forced to eat swine's flesh. The Edomites did the same thing to us over and over and over again under different names and titles. The Greeks and Portuguese are the same people. The Romans, Greeks, Portuguese, British, Russian, Irish, whatever you name them, the same race of people. Go back to...
Can I get a scripture?
Yeah.
Lamentation 4. It's the same thing. And it's going to give you the attribute and signs and of these people. 17? No, verse 18.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 18.
You just read that. We don't. Go ahead.
They hunt our steps.
Right? And then they go, that's the Inquisition. That
Agents.
Sent agents to all these islands.
Agents today are informants in here.
Informants, right.
That's what that is. Go ahead.
Okay.
That we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled.
Go ahead.
For our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven.
There you go. The swifter than the eagles. What was the symbol of Rome? The Greeks. United States, same thing.
Spain, Portugal, the eagle.
Portugal, yep, French. Go ahead.
They pursued us upon the mountains.
See, wherever we go, they pursue. They're pursuing us. Go ahead.
They lay wait for us in the wilderness.
That's it.
Read down to verse 21.
The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits.
They killed us. Go ahead.
Of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen.
We thought we were going to be safe among them. We thought there was safety among them. There was not. There is none. Read next verse.
Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom.
Why is he saying that? Because he's talking primarily about them. Rejoice, O daughter of Edom. Go ahead.
That dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked.
You know what?
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished.
But they're early in 2 Maccabees, when their sins come to the fullness. It's the same thing we're reading here. Read again.
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished.
Your sins have reached fullness. Go ahead.
O daughter of Zion, he will no more carry thee away into captivity.
Watch this.
He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sin.
That's what we're doing right now. We are discovering and revealing his sins and evil towards our people. Give me the next book. Go to the next book again. Go back to that page. What page is that? One what?
That's 128.
No, we passed this, right?
129.
Yeah, 120. No, we're in I said 132.
Yep.
Right there. Read that.
Dr. Allen H. Godby postulates the position that black Jews were on the West African coast from Senegal to Angola.
Now, Godby's book is a book that's very, very rare. Lost Tribes of Myth from Duke University, which we have. He thought we couldn't get it, but we got it. Bishop got it. So this book by Godby, it says what?
Says Dr. Alan H. Gabi postulates the position that black Jews were on the West African coast from Senegal to Angola, and they, the Jews, were driven to this area from central Sudan by Muslim propagandism.
By Islam. Islam forced us further into the West Coast. Go ahead.
Having a knowledge of the black Jews in the United States, Dr. Gabi arrived at this conclusion.
Come on.
These facts have peculiar significance when the presence of Judaism among American Negroes is to be considered. Hundreds of thousands of slaves were brought to America from this Western Africa during the days of the traffic, beginning nearly 400 years ago. How much more of Judaism survived among West African Negroes in that earlier time? As persecuted communities, they were rather more in danger than other Negroes of being raided by war parties and sold as slaves.
So what's he saying here? Gabi's saying that the Negroes, the American Negroes, are the Israelites. That's what he's saying. Next page.
That's right.
Read that there. Wait. Let me see. Go to conclusion. Go down. Right there. Read that here.
As the historical evidence indicates, the black Hebrews were snatched from the west coast of Africa and sold into captivity.
There you go. As historical evidences indicate, the black Hebrews are snatched from West Africa and were sold into captivity, into the Americas, all throughout different parts of the world. Now, give me what I want. Gullah Geechee.
I should have saved that Stoner Rebellion for that time.
Gullah Geechee. You want to get that? You can get that if you want. Gullah Geechee. Gullah Geechee, the Gullah Jack, he wants to go over.
Gullah Jack.
You got it? Well, get something then.
Hey, type in the Gullah Jack. Put in Gullah Jack, G-U-L-L.
G-U-L-L-A-H. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, G-U-L-L-A-H, Jack, Gullah Jack. There's a people down south known as the Geechees, the Gullahs or the Geechees. Some of y'all may be that, or some of you may know of them, the Gullahs.
Stretch from the coast from South Carolina down into Georgia.
Do they have a cartoon called Gullah Gullah Island?
Yeah.
With Jake? A cartoon called Gullah Gullah Island based upon these people here. Read that.
The Gullah are an African-American ethnic group.
The Gullah are an African-American, go ahead,
that live in the low country region of the United States of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. They are descendants of enslaved Africans from West and Central Africa who were brought to America in the 1700s and 1800s.
They were descendants of enslaved Africans in the West and Central Africa who were brought to America during the 17 and 1800s. Did they walk here? Did they fly? Did they use a kite? A plane? A tunnel? Did they dig under there and walk here? Go ahead.
The Gullahs are known for preserving more of their African linguistic and cultural heritage than any other African-American community in the United States.
They maintained the language and traditions of what they were doing while they were in Africa. They were not always here. That right there alone destroys the doctrine of there being no slave ships. It doesn't make any sense. They were exported from Angola, correct?
Yes, sir.
Go to Wikipedia, let me see what we got there. If it says where they came from, it might say where they came from.
Because the name Gullah stems from Gola, Angola.
So the word Gullah stems from the word Angola, which go back to the Jews of Portugal.
Hey, Deacon, also, can we bring that map? Remember that 1588 map?
You can get that map, yeah. Let me see the map. What map are you talking about?
1588, the land of the Judeo, in that same region.
Terra, the Terra joint? Terra?
Yeah, Terra.
Yeah, get that map, the old map. It says Terra Judaeum.
Right here, yep. Blow it up. Zoom out first, so you can see the whole area, what we talking about. All right, so circle around the Terra
Judaeum.
Yeah, circle around it.
Zoom it in.
Do y'all have the highlight? You know that highlight?
See right there?
So right that whole area is Angola, Loango, Cabinda, what Deacon was just going over.
Right, in Latin it's called Judaeum Terra. mean the kingdom of Judah, correct?
Right. Land of the Jews.
Land of the Jews, right.
Land of the
Judetum, Teta is land of the Jews. That whole area is land of the Jews. That's an old map. 1588.
1588.
Old maps in high def for free. We ain't buying nothing. Judetum, Terra. Unless we have to buy something, unless we have to buy it. That's last resort. Now, give me critical review. How much time you got? Give me critical review. No, go back to Gullah again. Gullah again. Which shows where they came from.
The Gullah are a subgroup of the African American ethnic group who predominantly live in the low country region of the U.S. states of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, within the coastal plain and the sea islands. Their language and culture have preserved a significant influence of Africanisms as a result of their historical geographic isolation and the community's relation to their shared history and identity.
Go down to etymology of Gullah.
Yep, here we go.
Here we go. Read that.
Etymology. The origin of the word Gullah can be traced to the Kikongo language, spoken around the Congo River's mouth.
They came from the Congo. They came from the Congo. Read it. Read again.
The origin of the word Gullah can be traced to the Kikongo language, spoken around the Congo River's mouth.
Come on.
From which the Gullah language, dialect spoken by black Americans today comes.
So the Geechee speak the Congolese language or Jews Bay language. Go ahead.
Some scholars suggest that it may be a cognate with the name Angola, where the ancestors of many of the Gullah people originated.
Come on.
Shipping records from the port of Charleston revealed that Angolans accounted for 39% of all enslaved Africans shipped to the port.
This is damn near 40%. Go ahead.
The story of Gullah Jack,
there we goes,
an African slave trafficked from Angola to the United States, further supports the theory that the word Gullah originated in Angola.
Angola. So the Geechee people, Gullah Geechee from down south, get their term from Angolan. They're from Angola. Go back to them being the Jews of Angola. Now, get me critical review. I want page 139. Critical review. This book is very, very old. How old is the book? Go to how old the book is. Go back.
It's in Roman numerals, 1783.
1783. 1783. We were still slaves when this book was put together. Let me see. Let me look at it. Do I want this Guinea? You read that. Go what's underlined. Read that.
The scene of the slave trade extends far beyond Guinea, though that coast furnishes the Europeans with a greater number of slaves for their American and West Indian colonies. The Portuguese, indeed, still procured slaves from their East African settlements.
It says still because this book was published in what? 1783. The author's telling you that the Portuguese were still dealing in the slave trade when this book was published. That's why we say old books are the best books. This is not for white, black eyes. We were on the ships. We couldn't read this anyway. They wouldn't allow us to read this. Go ahead.
Especially Mozambique.
Especially Mozambique. Go ahead.
And the French transport small number of slaves from Madagascar to the Isle de France and Bourbon.
Go down. I want this page. Go down next. Let me see. Go down. Let me see. Stop there. Let me see.
Oh, that's about the Arabs.
This goes into the Arabs. Not now. Go back. I'll go back to this. Go back to the next page. Let me see. The Arabs. You can read that. The first
rivals of the Arabs for the slaving trade were the Portuguese.
Yep.
Since 1445.
1445. Go ahead. The kidnapping what?
Whose preceding voyages were made merely in continuation of the war against the Arabs.
So the Arabs and Portuguese were warring with each other over slaves. Go ahead.
Who King Alfonso III had expelled from his dominions. The kidnapping pursuits of the Portuguese were favored by the papal donation of the new discovered countries.
So the Portuguese were kidnapping our children and shipping them off on the coast earlier at Angola, Jews Bay. They conquered that area and they sold us. Go ahead.
Till Prince Henry, who meant to improve the discovery in Africa to other purposes than merely for the extirpation of Mohammedanism, forbade the kidnapping to his navigator.
They didn't care. Read that, Pope Nicholas.
Pope Nicholas V, in that famous bull by which he granted the unknown world to the Portuguese and the Spaniards, expressly permitted and ordered the Christians to reduce all infidels into slavery.
All us in the slavery, Jews. Go ahead.
An order zealously executed by both these nations.
Go down, go down, go down. Read there. Go down, go down, go down, go down. Read here. Professor.
Professor Springle divides the history of the Negro trade carried on by Christians into two principal periods. The first from 1443 to 1645, and the second from 1645 to the present time.
To now, to the time when this book was put together. To the present time. Go ahead.
The first period is the time of its increase, during which not only its founders, the Portuguese, but the English, the Dutch, and the French dealt in Negro slaves.
Yes, go ahead.
Though chiefly for the use and consumption of the Spaniards and the sugar and tobacco plantations in the Brazils. During the latter period, these four nations were obliged to share that trade with the Swedes.
The Swedes, go ahead.
Swedes, the Danes, the Brandenburgers, the North Americans, and since 1778 with the Spaniards.
Go down, try to find where it mentions the islands I want to mention. Go down, Guinea, coast of Guinea. Go down.
Right here.
Right here, here we go. Read that. The discovery of the Gold Coast.
The discovery of the Gold Coast served indeed yet more to enlarge the sphere of the navigation of the Portuguese than their slave trade. But it forced them also to extend themselves on the coast.
Here we go.
And to settle colonies in Congo.
Here we go. To settle colonies in Congo.
Angola.
And
other places.
Go ahead.
Which they had till then neglected. Prince Henry's colonies were enlarged by his successors. King John II, in 1492, expelled all the Jews to the island of St. Thomas.
Remember that earlier? These black Jews he came across, Livingston, were knowledgeable in Portuguese law and history. Read.
Which had been discovered in 1471, and to other Portuguese settlements on the continent of Africa. And from these banished Jews.
Go ahead.
The black Portuguese.
So the banished Jews of Spain and Portugal were called the black Portuguese. Go ahead.
As they are called.
Go ahead.
And the Jews in Loango.
Or Loango Bay. Go ahead.
Who are despised, even by the very Negroes, are descended.
We are descended from the Jews of Loango. Go down. We don't jump down to these and these
Negroes.
These what?
These Negroes.
So the black Jews or the black Portuguese are later on called what? Negroes. That's us today. These Negroes, go ahead.
Were purchased in Guinea. Congo. And Manicongo.
Go ahead.
And the colonists had plantations furnished with from 150 to 3,000 Negro slaves.
To 3,000 Negro slaves of the Jews. Go ahead.
In the beginning of the 16th century, the Spaniards and Portuguese began to transport Negroes,
black Jews,
for similar labors to the West Indies and Brazils, by which the Negro trade was rapidly increased.
I showed you guys the map earlier on the atlas pointing to all those places. Go ahead. Including the Gullah, the Geechee, that's them. Go ahead.
The Spaniards, on their first settlement in the globe, according to the Pope's instruction, they divided them by families or districts among themselves as slaves.
They divided them by families or districts because they knew who was what. Go ahead.
Psalms 83.
Psalms 83, go ahead.
The poor Indians were now.
Now he says, then he goes, says the poor Native Americans. That's Northern Kingdom, the poor Indians, go ahead.
The poor Indians were now forced to die for pearls.
And so were we, go ahead.
To wash gold sand.
To wash gold sand, meaning they washed it out, go ahead.
And to work gold and silver mines for their new masters. They were often carried far from their native homes.
How they carried far from their homes? On ships. And when brought back to Africa, they called it Gulf of Indians. Gulf of the Indios. All right, go ahead.
And in short, they were so miserably fed and used that in a short time, these countries were entirely depopulated.
That's all I want. So both kingdoms were overthrown and conquered and put in slavery by the Portuguese and other European families. Now give me Nautical Magazine. Give me Jeremiah 50, verse 33. And give me Nautical Magazine on page 529. Yellow and blue book.
Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Were what?
Were oppressed together.
They were oppressed together. Both Southern, Northern Kingdom. When they had us build Wall Street, they had Negroes and Native Americans on the auction blocks together. For every 3 slaves, usually it consisted of 2 Native Americans and 1 black, because Native Americans were cheaper to capture. They were already on the land. So both were sold off and enslaved and put on slave ships. Read it, give me that now. Read again.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Come on.
And all that took them captives held them fast.
Held us fast. Come on.
They refused to let them go.
Why? Because you have a slave that's worth $12,000 and you selling 12.5 million of them, you wouldn't let them go either. Yeah, black gold. You don't let go of black gold and wool and ivory.
That's just from the west coast of Africa.
That's just the West. That's not even including the east coast of Africa. That's just the West. We counting one side of Africa, not even the other side. This book right here, the Nautical Magazine, is a book about the British navigation and their sails and explorations of the other side of the ocean and how they ran to the trans-Saharan slave trade as well. Give me page 529. 1870. 5 years, 1870 means that 5 years before this, you were freed from slavery. Allegedly. Read that Luongo family. I showed you earlier that the Jews of Luongo were Jews. Rufa Winter said it. David Livingstone said it. Nahum Sloat said it. Mungo Park said it. Now we got another guy here. Read this here.
Luongo family. The inhabitants of Luongo do not differ materially from those of the Gabon and Cape Lopez. It is probable that the Jewish type of character above mentioned forms a larger element of population here than it does on the Pongo coast. And this it was, doubtless, which led the Roman Catholic missionaries.
These are the inquisitorial agents. These were the inquisitorial agents, the Roman Catholic missionaries. Go ahead.
Who labored here during the 16th and 17th centuries to the conclusion that they had found black Jews in Luongo.
They found black Jews in Luongo who escaped the Inquisition earlier on. Go ahead.
This type of character combined with the practice of circumcision naturally enough led to this opinion. But this rite is nearly universal throughout the country, whilst this particular cast of countenance is only one out of a good many varieties that cannot be accounted for.
Come on.
Barbert states that in the reign of Don John II and about the close of the 15th century, large number of Jews were expelled from Portugal and taken to the coast of southern Guinea.
Taken to the coast of southern Guinea. Were taken to the coast of Guinea because it became a Portuguese plantation. Go ahead.
That the island of St. Thomas, which is not more than 100 miles from the mainland, was populated by mulattoes descended from the Jewish exiles and Anglo women.
Being from black Moors or Jews, Israelites, and white women. We had married. Go ahead.
Character noticed at the Gabon.
Notice where?
Gabon and Luongo.
The Jewish type of character noticed at the Gabon and Luongo. Go ahead.
May have originated from this source.
The same people. What source? The source of Jews that fled, that were brought over from Portugal and were settled in southern Guinea. The Gabonese and the Luongo or Congolese were Israelites. That's what it's saying here. Go ahead.
But if so, it is unknown to the present inhabitants of the country. And it would have been somewhat singular if the Roman Catholic missionaries at Luongo had not detected this circumstance instead of regarding them as a pure African family of Jews.
Come on.
Congo and Angola are Dongo people. There have been so many of the Congos and Angolas brought to this country in former years, while still greater numbers have been imported into Brazil of late.
As slaves.
That it scarcely seems necessary to give a very minute account of them in this place. It is important to remark, however, that these families in Africa cannot be fairly estimated by such specimens of the nation as have been brought to America. For the subjects of the slave trade have almost invariably been gathered either from certain degraded clans that are interspersed among the more powerful tribes.
So what he's saying is that when the white man grabbed slaves over, he grabbed the slaves that were more civilized, which is BS. They took whoever they can grab, pretty much who were already enslaved. But he's trying to argue that the slaves they came across or who they snatched up weren't smart or intelligent. That's what he's trying to insult us. Now, get me Zephaniah 3 and 10. How'd they find us? Along these areas, Congo, Senegambia, Gabon, Zephaniah 3 and 10.
Check. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 3 and verse 10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering.
Read again.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering.
So beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed. Israel is along the Nile. Israel always placed ourselves along the rivers, along the Nile. So the White Nile or Blue Nile, Israel was scattered all through here, especially Sudan. There was a heavy slave port in Sudan. Nigeria, all throughout Uganda, we were found all along the Nile. Okay? So that's the point I want to bring to y'all. Israel is found along that area. Now get me the atlas again. I want page 1. Jesus Christ. Please have page 1. The atlas again, the same atlas. I want page 1.
Officer, can you? Oh, never mind. They got it. I thought you posted something.
You posted something? All right. Read. Is it out? Read. Let me see. This. Yeah.
Bottom,
Okay.
bottom?
The bottom. You see the bottom? Yes. Give me all societies. Read the top verse to get an idea of what's going on.
In the 15th and 16th centuries, the number of Africans traded across the Atlantic basin was modest, perhaps barely exceeding the number of slaves leaving Africa by other routes.
Go ahead.
Unlike the trafficking slaves in the Mediterranean world, however, the trafficking slaves in the eastern Atlantic islands and the Americas soon became racially based.
Now jump down to both buyers.
Both buyers, Europeans and sellers, Africans.
Stop. Now they'll argue and say, see, Africans sold you sold your own people into slavery. What? That's the argument that they say regarding reparations. Well, you should go to the Africans because they sold you over there first. It's not true. Read again.
Both buyers, Europeans and sellers, Africans, sold the people traded into captivity on the African coast as outsiders.
Stop. Read again.
Both buyers, Europeans and sellers, Africans.
Europeans, Edomites, and the Hamites. So who?
Saw the people traded into captivity on the African coast.
As what?
As outsiders.
As outsiders. Meaning what? Hamites were not selling their own people into slavery. They were selling outsiders, meaning people who were not their own people, into the hands of Europeans. Go ahead.
Although the identities that made trading possible did not remain constant over time.
Give me the book real quick, American Encyclopedia. And give me Joel 3. Yep, Americana. Hamites were not selling Hamites into slavery. Hamites were selling Israelites into slavery.
Right.
That's what y'all don't understand. You were not selling each other into slavery. Now, were there instances where our people were involved in the trade? In some instances, yes, there were. There were instances where you had people who were greedy, and they were men stealers, middlemen, and then you had people who were kingdoms where they had, if we went to war, they sent me and Cap out of kingdom. I had a kingdom, he had a kingdom. And we war with each other, and I win, and I take him captive, and his people captive. I would sell them off to Edomites. So I didn't know that the slavery that I had them under was different from theirs. Their slavery was perpetual. His slavery was he owed me a debt for war. That's how we did it. If we went to war and I captured him, he would have to work off this debt like the Bible says to do. So we thought, okay, we're gonna sell off our people to them, and that'll be it. But that was on a small scale because we knew selling you was our own people. That would destroy us. That's detrimental to sell your own people as a whole to somebody else. That makes no damn sense. You weren't stupid. So you had in minute, small
instances, small instances where Israel was involved in men stealing, and we were being evil and hated each other and would have each other conquer like the Native Americans on this side of the world. They would conquer one Native American group, and the white man would conquer and take them as slaves. Like, what's the name? Like Apocalypto. So there were instances small, but guess what? When we did that, did we profit from it? No, we got enslaved too. So it didn't help. Even if there were Jake that conquered Jake and sold them off, we both got enslaved in the end. It didn't help. We didn't profit from that. We didn't get a piece of that. We didn't get a piece of that freaking 150 billion we showed you earlier. And if we did, guess what happened? We lost it during Berlin Conference when they came and took the land anyway. Now, read what you got. What I say again? Read that? Yeah.
The Encyclopedia Americana, the international reference work.
Come on.
Next page. At the bottom, go to the bottom. Next page. Down at the bottom. Yep, social conflicts. Social conflict, warfare, and headhunting have been the social conflicts, both now controlled by European governments.
Yep.
The greatest military organizations were those of the Masi in East Africa.
Jump down to slavery was.
Slavery was due to raids of Arabs and Hamites on Negro communities.
Read again.
Slavery was due to raids of Arabs and Hamites on Negro communities.
Slavery was due to raids of Arabs and Hamites on Negro communities. Two different nations selling a different nation into slavery. It doesn't say slavery was due to raids of Arabs and Hamites on Hamite communities. It says Negro, because we were different people. An encyclopedia understands this. Now, get me
Joel
Exodus
3.
11:7. Exodus 11 verse 7 now.
Did you still want Joel 3?
So what? Oh, Joel 3. Read this first. We're almost done. Exodus 11 verse 7. We started a little late. That's why we'll go. Give me 10 more minutes. Exodus 11 verse 7.
The book of Exodus, chapter 11 and verse 7.
Come on.
But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue.
No heathen should move his tongue against us. No heathens shouldn't mention our name in a bad way. Go ahead.
Against man or beast.
Against our men or our animals. Go ahead, our beasts. Go ahead.
That ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
The Lord put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. Between the Egyptians and Israel. Okay, we're not the same. Give me Deuteronomy 4:34.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 34. Or hath God essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation?
God essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation. Meaning what? They're not the same. Hamites and Israelites, even though they reside in the same landmass, they're not the same people. They go under the same title as African because they reside in that area, but they're not the same nation of people. One's Hamitic and one is Shemitic. Read again.
Or hath God essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation?
Go ahead.
By the temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes.
Give me Joel 3 now. I know what I want. We're going to close it out with Joel 3 to show that when our people are conquered in the ports of Africa and so forth, the Arabs and the Hamites had already conquered us and enslaved us, giving the Portuguese a chance to. The white man didn't just run to Africa and just snatch us up and throw us in a boat. They already found us enslaved among the chiefs and Hamites and so forth, who deemed us to be outsiders. We read it earlier. Joel 3, you know what I want.
Yes, sir. The book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon.
Tyre and Sidon are Hamites, the Hamite nation. Sidon is the Canaanites that resided in that portion of Africa. When we fled from Spain and Portugal, we ran into the hands of the Arabs or into the hands of the Hamites. Read on.
And all the coast of Palestine.
Coast of Palestine is the Arabs, the Israelites. That's why it's written that way, Palestine. It's referring to them. Go ahead.
Will ye render me a recompense?
Will you pay me back because I didn't choose you as my people? Because I didn't choose you as my people. Will you get back at me for not choosing you as my people? Go ahead.
And if he recompense me,
if you get back at me, go ahead.
Swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
I'm going to put you in slavery the same way you enslave my people. I'm going to have my people enslave you. Go ahead.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold.
He took our wealth, our silver and gold. Go ahead.
And have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
And built Al-Aqsa, their Muslim temple, on top of Solomon's temple. And put all of what they found there into their temple. Go ahead.
The children also of Judah.
The children also of Judah. Go ahead.
And the children of Jerusalem.
And remnants of northern kingdom of Judah. Go ahead.
Have ye sold unto the Grecians.
You sold us to the white man, who became later on known as the Portuguese, the French, the Brandenburgers, the Spanish, the Italians, the Belgians, the Danes, the Swedes. These are all Grecians. Go ahead.
That ye might remove them far from their border.
They removed us far from our border in terms of our land and from all the areas where we, in our land, not only our land, our own personal land, but our lands of exile. They moved us far from those borders and made billions to trillions of dollars in black gold or wool and ivory. All right, so all praise to the Most High. Hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. We will continue into this part 4. You guys are coming out here. Appreciate you. Got an audience out here, a live audience out here.
Oh, that's the very first
Captain
one.
Jan, I don't know what happened, disappeared. I don't know what happened to him, disappeared. But shout out to Captain Jan for coming through. Captain Jan. Give us a round of applause for him. For being here. Panning around. For those who were here, panning around. Shout out to the live audience also.
First,
that can make it out here.
First live audience.
Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Let's go, let's go. There you go, Israel.
We're partying all night, so we can make it, we make it.
Yeah, beautiful day today, too.
You brought all the way around? Okay. All praise to the Most High, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so all praises for that. Also, don't forget to donate to the Booster Club. All right, donate to the Booster Club. Donate to the land fund as well. We want to keep these kind of feast days on our own land. We got this place to ourselves, which is great, but we want to make certain that we eventually have this type of experience in our own land, in our own tents, our own things, so we can do whatever we want. We can spend every feast day in our own land, you know? Without the Edomites. No, our Edomites, you know, terrorizing us and, you know, and hunting, making our lives hell on earth. So donate. Don't forget, all right?
Hey, Deke, but this is very close, you know? It's still a lot better than other places.
This is a lot close and better than other places. We have it
no
to
curfew.
Ourselves. No curfew.
Great weather.
So, you know, definitely all praise to the Most High for that. No intruders amongst us. Got the whole thing to ourselves. So this does come very close. So we're trying to get this for ourselves and better.
Right.
All right? So all praises. Abaddon, you got it, right?
Yes, sir. Hey, let's give it up one more time for the deacon. All praise the Most High. Give it up, give it up. Our Hidden History Tabernacles edition. All right, Israel, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Our Hidden History Radio on YouTube. Hit the notifications button so you know when we go live. It's all right, Cap. All right, Israel, make sure you donate. Oh, now I'm saying donate. You subscribe to Our Hidden History Radio on YouTube. All right, hit the notifications button so you know when we go live. You can donate to Our Hidden History on PayPal to IUIC.Philadelphia at IsraelUnite.org. In the comment section, put Subscribe to our other Philly channels, IUIC Philadelphia and IUIC Philadelphia in the Classroom. Donate to the Booster Club. You can donate to the Booster Club to help this gospel spread throughout the four corners of the earth on PayPal too. IUIC.fundraising@IsraelUnite.org. Last but not least, subscribe to IUIC TV to get exclusive content from the leadership of IUIC. Next. All right. For missing persons, we have Nashida Reynolds and Nasheed Black. All right. Ages 31 and 13. Nashida was last seen on August 11th. Nasheed was last seen on July 26th. Clothing description unknown. So if you do locate these two, make it known to the local authorities. Let's help find our people, all right? Next. Land fund. You heard the deacon and captains talk about this every single day. So if you believe, donate on PayPal to Israel at IsraelUnite.org. In the comment section, put land, all right? We want to be able to celebrate all our feasts on our own land. All right, it'd be good to come out here at Pentecost, you know, or dedication. So we can only make that happen if we come together. All right, yes. All right, next. And last but not least, we're looking for your assistance to help enhance our national broadcast. Kindly spare a minute to provide feedback by answering 5 brief questions. So pull out your phones and hit that QR code and let us know how IT did. You know. Yeah, I don't got much to say on IT today, Deke.
Oh, yeah, man. IT did all right, man. It did all right, man. Nothing?
No, I got one thing to say. Huh? You know, it doesn't matter whether they're in the city, the woods, or the fields. IT still can't spell. That's all I want to say.
Oh, yeah, IT spelling is still terrible.
Hey, Officer Manny might be a gullah. Huh? Officer Manny might be a gullah.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Manny, shouts to Manny. Shouts to the AI that didn't help y'all spell his work. Wow. I want to apologize for what I just said about you guys that being able to spell words. I die hourly. All right, who else? So that's it? All right, all praise to the Most High. So we're going to continue to have I keep looking at the damn screen. It's addictive. I think it's the camera. Lord's will, we're going to have a good time. We have more day ahead of us. Still got a warm day, still got the sun shining. So all praise to the Most High. We're going to go out here, have a good time. We'll go by the fire. Prepare for another amazing day of events to come. Radio show was great. Shout out to the breakfast team. Shout out to the IT team. Shout out to the camera crew. Shout out to the audience. Shout out to the special guests. Shout out to those who are watching. Hope you're enjoying the feast as well. We're enjoying it. With that, we're going to say shalom. Happy feast. 2024 Northeast Edition.
That's right.
God bless.
God bless. Good.